dust storm, man. Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
So after weeks of speculation, hype, and wrong dates, we finally got a trailer. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How are you doing?
Well, I mean, we got a trailer. I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. We finally got to see some of the stuff that we've been speculating on for so long.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the end, right?
Right.
This is the end. This is nail-biting time for Star Wars fans.
There's no doubt about that.
So
I think some of this. Go ahead.
So when we sit back and we're speculating on when's the trailer coming, when's this coming, we're on pins and needles. We can't wait to see the next piece.
Right.
And it's finally here. And I gotta say, I don't want to be like the downer right off the get. I kind of expected a little bit more.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm kind of happy that they didn't show us more. It's a really weird feeling.
I get what you're saying. This is my overall. I'm gonna just come out there with it. My overall take on this trailer, from my opinion, my point of view, is this was something that I think they are looking for this trailer to appeal to every type of Star Wars fan out there. Like, this has something for everyone. And that's the job of trailers like this when you think about it, right? It's marketing material to get more people to come see the film, which is great, which is fine.
So just to build on that a little bit, with this being the conclusion of the saga, this film should really be the moment where all of us on all sides, on all the factions that have developed in fandom,
right?
Dare I say it? It's happened. There's factions, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's there.
So of all the factions that have developed in fandom, this is supposed to be the film that we all come together on, and we all get our conclusion.
Yes.
Together.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what it's billed as, the endless Skywalker saga. So,
it's supposed to wrap the saga up in a neat little bow.
Right. Exactly.
And whether you're a fan of the prequels, or you're an OT person, or you're a sequel trilogy person, this film is supposed to wrap it up for all of us. The old, the new, those coming in right now.
Yeah.
This is the end.
So it's, on one hand, there's a lot that lends itself to things that we've talked about, speculated on for the movie in this trailer that go hand in hand with how things could be wrapped up. And yet there's other things that almost seem like a lot of setup. So we'll see. I mean, it's just interesting. We didn't get a whole lot of, nothing earth shattering, I guess, but,
no,
plenty to sink our teeth into.
Yeah. So why don't we go ahead and do what's become our obligatory thing, and let's just all have a listen at the audio from the trailer, just to get our heads right as we dive into this.
It's an instinct. A feeling. The Force brought us together. We're not alone. if we lead them?
People keep telling me they know me. No one does.
But I do.
Long have I waited. And now you're coming together. Is your undoing.
What are you doing there, 3PO?
Taking one last look, sir, at my friends.
Confronting fear is the destiny of a Jedi. Your destiny. The Force will be with you.
Always.
Okay, so wow, that before we get started and like kind of breaking this down, that music.
As far as trailers go, that music is fabulous.
It is epic. I mean, I am so ready to get this score in my hands, to get the soundtrack.
Right.
I always look forward to John Williams soundtracks. I can't get enough of listening to them.
Oh, I hear you.
And I really hope that version of Luke Skywalker's theme, I hope some orchestration of that ends up on the soundtrack.
Oh, that'd be cool. That's for sure.
Because I really dig it.
It sounds big. The tempo is slowed way down. It's there to make a point. You know what I mean? That's for sure.
Yeah, I hope at least it's the end credit, piece that we end up getting on a soundtrack.
I can see it.
I hope so, because I really love it. It just you hear it and like you feel like anything could be epic when you're doing that. Like,
oh yeah.
Like I could open a beer to that and it's like epic. Like that was the most epic beer I've ever opened.
Right.
So
that's funny.
What? It's true though.
Oh yeah.
So, which I'm gonna do that.
Nice.
So, where you want to start? You want to start from the beginning?
Yeah, let's start from the beginning.
What was I doing here? All right, here we go. So Rey running through this forest,
right?
Instantly you think Endor, right?
Yeah, I would say.
Does it feel very Endor to you? Like,
see, parts of it do.
Forest Moon, rather.
Other parts don't, right? So it could be, might not be. I mean, I don't know. I would say if it's not Endor,
I don't see any redwoods here.
Yeah, that's part of it, right? Part of the trees aren't so huge. You got a lot of really broad, leafy underbrush.
Yep.
So,
and very thin trees, like
right.
Nothing big and old looking like those redwoods.
Yeah. So it's hard to say. But that, that could also just be another part of the moon, right? Just
Agreed.
a different area. It's hard to say.
I don't disagree, and we don't know what the surface of Endor itself looks like.
Right.
So and I mean, we live on planet Earth. We know that a planet there's different things about it, you know?
No. This is Star Wars. Every planet has its own
Theme.
climate. Yeah.
It's all a desert or it's nothing.
It's all a desert. It's all ice. It's all a forest. You know, it's a bunch of water with a couple islands on it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's what we're led to believe, at least.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they do say the forest moon of Endor, the desert planet Tatooine. You know, like
right. It could, you know, it's hard to say where it could be, but one thing's for sure is she's training, right? Because we see the training droid, and you know, she jumps this chasm, and that shot rolls right into another shot,
which is the wreckage of something.
Well, it's looking an awful lot like the wreckage of the Death Star to me, because when she sticks the landing here, over her shoulder looks like the tractor beam platform that Obi-Wan had to go shut that sucker off on.
Yep.
Now that's a callback way back.
Uh-huh. So then then we get Finn in a different locale.
Right. Desert planet. Right? Or no. No, that's
a forest planet.
Yep. The initial shot is just the lighting, the sun behind him.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But so what I start to think here, because as you move on this shot, you see like palms. You know, I'm really sticking to like the foliage here.
Right.
But you see some palms mixed in with some other, you know, trees and things like that.
Yep.
And you see this, you know, blockade runner. I believe is it a hammerhead? It was the same thing, isn't it?
That's where they show it taking off over the trees.
Yeah. So you see this Corvette.
Yeah.
Taking off.
That actually, was that shot?
I'm assuming the same planet that you see in the background of Finn there.
Okay. So anyway, what I was going to say was I believe it's got about the same markings as the Tantive 4.
Right.
So, you know, same paint job. Makes you wonder if it is the same ship or if it's like from the same fleet, you know, Alderaan.
Right. But that to me, you see this, you know, this base that they've set up on this planet.
Uh-huh.
I mean, are we going back to Tantive?
Yavin
4?
It's possible, but I will say I don't see evidence of the temples, the pyramids or whatever that they were occupying before.
Well, yeah, I mean, these are very close shots, so like,
right, true.
We're not seeing any real. I mean, and we see mixed in there Rey running on this forest planet,
right?
So maybe she's just training on this planet.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
So we may be looking at something like Yavin the whole time here.
Possibly, could be Yavin. You know, it's
hard
to
new
say.
Planet.
We still cannot put our finger on which Death Star we're talking about here. You know, but it's clear that it's a Death Star.
Yes.
So that's
I think
funny.
I think as far as the Emperor's involvement, the Death Star wreckage makes the most sense to be on Endor.
Right.
Maybe we're looking at 2 Death Star wreckages here.
Maybe you're right. That is a possibility.
Maybe we see both.
So we have this big conglomeration of people here, right? This big group of people.
Yep.
Rebellion. And who do we see in the middle of it all? Lando. Yeah.
I like this a lot.
Yeah, very cool.
I mean, they've lost all leadership with the exception of Leia.
Right.
Even Poe he's still while taking a leadership role, he's a young leader.
Yeah.
The new leader.
Exactly.
He's still going to need a nudge, some counsel from others who know how to lead.
Right.
Well, might as well go back to a general from the Civil War, the Galactic Civil War,
Right?
for that leadership.
Yeah.
And I love, man, does he stand out in that shot
Oh, yeah. Totally.
with his yellow shirt. And
So with this one shot, it's obvious that the quote unquote rebellion is growing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we see more people in this shot than at the end of The Last Jedi. So there's,
well, that's hard to do.
yeah, I know. It's like that point's already made clear to us. So, which I think we all knew had to happen, right?
Yeah, I think this is 20 times the number of
Yeah, people that were on the Falcon.
yeah, just in that one shot. So, but this base, right? Like whatever they're standing in, it looks like a hangar.
Yeah, it does totally.
It doesn't look new to me.
No,
Looks like they're using something that was already there. That's just, which they would have to. I mean, they don't exactly have resources to go build a new base.
exactly.
So they're going to have to use something that's there. And I'm going to guess, like I said, I hesitate to pull up old planets and bases and things like that because it's not really a route we've gone in the sequel trilogy.
Right.
But where do they have to go?
Well, I'm sure
They have to go back.
there's a lot more bases than what we know of.
Agreed.
You know, and who's to say, you know, Lando could have gone and set up shop anywhere, and if this is like where he's currently calling home, who knows where it is? I mean, it might be a new introduction to a planet for us. You know, it's possible.
Who knows? Maybe this is what the rebel base on Dantooine looks like.
Could be.
That was
Possible.
abandoned.
Right.
You know, something that's old but we've never seen.
Right.
Cool shot though.
Definitely.
And definitely looks like it's very reminiscent, very ragtag, you know, pieced together. Like this doesn't look like a cohesive fighting force that has been doing it as a group for very long.
Right.
This looks like a large group of people that have all convened in a common spot because they all have a common enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
So very reminiscent, but yet still kind of feeling new.
Totally. So, the next shot, I guess we get to get our first look at Dominic Monaghan, huh? Appears as though he's standing next to Billy Lord with Rose Tico in the foreground.
Yeah, I'm trying to pick that up here.
That would be immediately after the last shot we were talking about.
Yep. Got it. So, definitely on the side of the resistance.
Right, totally. Which I believe they did release a still, and he, you know, appeared to have that look, you know, of a resistance fighter. So, kind of cool.
I gotta ask, have you seen Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can make my joke.
Go for it.
Do you think they all know about Second Breakfast?
Yeah. Possibly.
Sorry.
I don't. Yeah. Second breakfast. Listen to you.
I'm just saying they don't look like they know about Second Breakfast.
Right.
They look pretty concerned.
You're preoccupied with something. I don't know. So again, wherever this is, this looks like it could be the same place as the previous shot, or a different part of this base that we're talking about, or you know, something. But it looks like there's preparations going on.
They actually all look like they've seen better days.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, in that shot in the back with Billy Lord, I mean, does she look really banged up?
A little bit, yeah.
Like, I mean, this is odd to say in Star Wars, but I mean, it looks like blood on her face.
It's very possible it could be.
So, I mean, it could just be like grease or something, you know.
Yeah, you never know.
They're doing some factory work right now.
Factory work. Working on some starships.
Yeah, but Rose looks pretty concerned.
Yes.
So, factory work probably not. So next up we got Finn, Poe, and Chewie.
Right.
Against we got an orange X-wing here now.
Yeah. Again, it looks like it's this place you were talking about with the palms and all that.
Which, like I said, really, I lean away from Endor with all that.
Yeah, I would have to agree. That can't be Endor. I mean, you're talking forest to jungle, really. I mean,
yeah.
Which, yeah. Again, using our Star Wars logic, that means it's got to be two different planets. So,
yeah, I mean, you can't have a jungle on a forest moon.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. But Yavin was definitely more jungle-like than Endor.
Yeah, that's true.
But who knows where the hell we're going?
Yeah. So the next shot is the one you were talking about with this blockade runner.
Yes.
Flying right over the top of the treetops. So, and that gives you a really good shot of what I was talking about too, kind of like paint scheme and stuff. It looks very similar to what we saw running from the Star Destroyer over Tatooine. So, like I said, it's not the same ship. It's got to be probably a sister ship.
I mean, I don't think the Empire would just let that ship go. Like,
yeah, probably not.
Yeah, they had it. That ship's done for.
Yeah. But kind of cool seeing something that large flying around in atmosphere.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty cool shot.
Yeah.
Like very cool shot.
Which I got to say, that seems to be one of those things that they've done a lot of in, this trilogy is you get a lot of good shots of these ships flying in atmosphere, right? You don't get a whole bunch of that. Well, in the prequels you do, but
right.
You get the Falcon leaving Tatooine and I don't know, not much more. I mean, Hoth, it's about it.
In these open spaces, and it was either sand or snow.
Right. Exactly.
You got a shot of the Falcon flying over the treetops on Yavin.
Yeah.
But that's it. You didn't really get any. This is more of an action shot as opposed to just, okay, we're arriving here,
Yeah, absolutely.
This is probably, honestly, a shot like this is probably what George would have done if the technology was there at the time.
Absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind.
I mean, but yeah, this is just a cool shot. And the way the trees move and everything with this shot.
Yeah.
It looks real, man.
Yep, totally.
Gotta give them credit where credit's due here. So we're back to this sunken wreckage.
Right.
Not really sunken, like half sunken wreckage.
Yeah. And I gotta say, this is looking at this water. You're a boater. I'm a boater. This is not water I want to go out on.
Oh no, not even a little bit.
Yeah, it's like it's pretty gnarly.
And these two are like, oh, seems like a good day for a lightsaber fight.
Yeah, exactly.
I disagree.
So I had someone tell me that they got the impression from Kylo and Rey on this platform with all the water, the spray around them and stuff. They said, well, this is kind of like Anakin and Obi-Wan, but with water instead of lava. Which I said, okay, I see what you're saying, but epic lightsaber duels kind of need to be set in what would you call it? Like a I don't know, a
turbulent surrounding.
There you go. Yeah. Perfect. That's a perfect way of putting it. Turbulent surroundings. Yes, I like it.
Because while the fight between Obi-Wan and Vader had its weight because of what it was.
Yep.
Okay, and what it needed to serve, which was Luke losing his mentor early. That's where the weight comes from there.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the fight on the Death Star.
Okay.
Episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Whereas the prequel fights, each one served their purpose. Like the little fight between Qui-Gon and Darth Maul on Tatooine. Quick. Doesn't need this whole crazy surrounding, right?
Right.
But it got a little wild even in that palace setting with Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul.
Yes.
They ended up in, these walks over these big chasms,
right, exactly.
It had a different kind of it needs these epic battles. They needed some sort of worldly danger.
Yeah.
Something aside from the danger of the lightsaber being swung at you.
Right.
But if you make a misstep, that will kill you.
Exactly. That's kind of.
So added danger.
Yes. Now, one thing I will say, I did notice, and I'm sure we've gotten merely the smallest of tastes, but we all know what the lightsaber duel between Obi-Wan and Anakin / Vader was like, and it was frantic, high speed, epic, right? What we've seen of this one so far, it makes me feel like, it reminds me of a couple of knights all kitted up in armor trying to wield broadswords. You know what I'm saying? What we've seen so far just doesn't seem to have the same kind of intensity to me.
Well, I think it's going to lack the acrobatics.
Right?
I don't think you can really... you got wet footing, things like that. I think the acrobatics are a bad idea in this environment.
Well, okay. They can green screen a lot of that stuff.
And I think they might be looking for a little more of a original trilogy feel lightsaber combat.
Which I can respect, but after having what we had in Revenge of the Sith, you kind of want to...
But... let's look at the Luke Vader duel on Bespin.
Okay.
It was a little more of that style, a little more broadswordy.
Yeah.
Not so acrobatic, but
Right.
There was a lot of added danger that kind of added to the overall feel of the fight.
Yeah.
With the windows getting blasted out and almost getting sucked into,
carbon freeze.
Not really space, but
oh yeah. Plus he was going to get frozen before that. Yeah.
Right. So there was always an added danger.
Yep.
And that duel is pretty epic in its own right.
Sure.
It's a pretty good duel. So I think I think that's what they're going for in this fight is a little more Luke Vader Bespin kind of fight.
I gotcha. Like I said, we've only gotten the smallest of tastes, but that's just my initial impression. I think we will probably get some more of what we're both talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's more shots of what is that fight coming a little later in the trailer.
Right.
But I gotta say, I'm digging Kylo's entrance here.
Oh, right.
Walking through the mist and then, flipping the hilt backwards there and kind of taking on that Ahsoka grip.
Yeah. I thought that was odd, especially with that saber. You'd have to be really careful with that saber wielding it that way.
I think that adds to the badassery of that, though.
Sure.
Like he doesn't even care.
Right,
Like he just flips it around. Like there's danger of him impaling himself with his own lightsaber right there.
Yeah.
But he don't care. So I thought that was a cool image, like just him walking through the mist like that, determined looking.
Yeah,
not angry looking. Like it's a different look for Kylo.
I just wish he had his helmet on.
You know how I feel about that.
Yeah, he could be more intimidating with it on.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, I like it. I like his non-helmeted look.
Yeah, we'll just have to disagree on that.
That's fine. We've disagreed on that for 2 movies now. So,
yeah. So what do you make of this next shot? We have
the iceberg in space.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
at first glance, you're thinking it's iceberg in water until you see there's no reflection from the TIE fighters.
Correct. That's an iceberg in space.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of odd. Floating iceberg.
Oh, it's floating iceberg in space.
Yes.
I mean, have we never seen that? I mean, there's a lot of material out there.
Yeah, I don't recall it. Say that.
It's definitely interesting looking though, like because it looks straight up like an iceberg.
Right.
So, I don't know. We'll see what happens when that comes out. I'll save judgment.
Right. Exactly.
It looks weird, but who knows? Maybe it'll work. Maybe there's more to it.
I'm sure there is. You don't put something like that in the movie just for kicks. That's for sure.
So, what do you think of this throne?
So I have to say, my initial impression was, oh man, it's a Star Wars version of the Game of Thrones throne, the Iron Throne, whatever. And upon more research, this throne was actually originally envisioned by Ralph McQuarrie. So
that gets it an automatic free pass.
Yeah, for sure. And not that I disliked it. I just thought it had a lot of resemblance, with got these big spikes sticking out behind it and stuff, which reminds you of all the swords from the other throne. But
yep.
To me, I feel like this thing has got to be either currently on or taken from like a Sith world and like an ancient throne of some sort. Maybe something that Palpatine has acquired somehow. So it just has that really ancient look to it, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, this is a throne that you would expect to see one of the. Seeing this, you would expect one of the ancient Sith lords that have been talked about.
Right.
You'd expect to see them sitting on something like this.
Yes.
Which maybe at one time one did.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping that there's some sort of, I don't want to necessarily call it a tie-in, but some sort of a nod to like one of the old Sith lords of the past that we all, when we hear the name or whatever, we'll know. And that will make a lot of old, to be honest, a lot of old EU fans happy, I think. Drawing from all that stuff, it's still obviously being done, right? In the TV shows, they're talking about it, and it's a lot of source material that's there that you could pull from and make work, even in these movies.
Yeah.
So be interesting. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird though, because I kind of feel like I've seen that imagery before.
Okay.
And Game of Thrones aside,
right?
I feel like I've seen it somewhere before, and maybe it was in some concept art, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like that.
If you've seen the concept art, it's pretty 1-for-1. I will say that. So, if you have seen that art before, it's probably where you're thinking of it from.
Yeah, I've probably seen the art. That's probably where it's come from. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it all ties in.
Right.
So, the next two shots. Okay, I want to just kind of compile these together.
Yeah.
This Star Destroyer coming out of the water.
So
pretty sweet, pretty old looking Star Destroyer though, Empire looking.
Yeah. You say water? I was thinking like ice and snow.
Oh, I don't know. I thought ice and snow at first. But I don't know. Maybe it is ice and snow. You know what? It might be ice and snow because now that I actually have the closed captioning on the YouTube right now. And it says groundbreaking apart. So, okay, yeah, I'm going to go with ice and snow. I thought that at first, but like the way it sprayed kind of looked like water to me.
Right. But
I'm going to go with the caption here.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty cool look. I mean, you know, how do you hide a Star Destroyer? Maybe it's in a floating iceberg.
All right, so yeah, while that looked cool, the next shot we get a shot of a lot of ships.
Yes.
But there's one ship in particular that really stands out to me.
Yep.
Because that is definitely a VCX 100, which the only one we've seen in canon is the Ghost.
Right. So I have to say that was, that's definitely one that jumps out at you, right? But there are many ships represented here from across all of the trilogies. Like all in one place. On the other side of the Falcon from the Ghost, you have the actual Hammerhead, right? Which we saw in Rogue One, push the Star Destroyer into the other one. We got some Monkel ships. It's just all kinds of them. There's bombers from that we just saw in The Last Jedi. All kinds. It looks like they gathered up everything that would fly.
You know what it looks like? What? It looks like something's about to go down.
Oh, heck yeah. That's for sure.
I mean, in a big way.
Yeah. So something's going
bigger
down.
Than ever.
Yeah. They gathered up everything that would fly and said, let's go.
And probably some things that barely do that.
Yeah.
But the Ghost is the one that God, I hope that's the Ghost.
Oh, it's got to be the Ghost. So the only question, that, and it's been brought up, but we'll bring it up here too, is who's piloting? Is it Hera?
I hope so.
Or Jason?
I hope it's Hera.
I would like to think it would be Hera.
I mean, is there a lot of info on how long Twi'leks live?
I have no clue, to be honest about it. Either way, it would be okay with me. I mean, if it's Jason Syndulla, obviously carrying on where his mother left off, right? So, here's the thing. We'll probably never know. That's probably all we're going to see of the Ghost. But it's nice to speculate and jump to our own conclusions on what might be going on there. If it's Hera, there's a lot of untold stories that we need to get. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, I.
And if it's Hera, she's still in touch with Ahsoka. she's still around somewhere? And if so, where's she been?
Right. I don't know. That it might just be it's probably just going to be like in Rogue One where you just see it.
Right.
And that's that. But it's definitely good for getting the speculative juices flowing.
Oh, for sure. Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsandMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsandMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com.
All right, so next up we get our crew, our core group of characters. We get them in the cockpit of the Falcon.
Yes. This right here looks like some sort of initial shot to me, right? Like we're getting ready to head out on some sort of something. It doesn't look like a whole lot's been going on yet, so I got a feeling that's an early shot.
This is the team heading out.
Right.
So yeah, cool to see though.
Oh yeah.
Back to our lightsaber duel.
Hold on.
Okay.
We got to go back to that for 1 second.
Yes.
So, I have heard speculation as to what this little blue round thing is on the dash of the Falcon right there.
The beacon?
Yeah. So, I'm not sure yet, but I'm sure it's got something to do with...
Yeah, is this supposedly linked to that... So one, I think you saw it in Luke Skywalker's hut in The Last Jedi.
Oh, is it that?
I'm thinking so. It's the item that Luke was looking for in one of the Emperor's what did they call it? Depository or whatever.
Okay.
In the Battlefront game.
Okay, so it's that compass.
Yes.
Well, we'll have to find out. That's interesting because it appears as though it's going to be showing them the way to something.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
Like the Emperor.
Huh?
The Emperor
Oh, maybe.
or an artifact.
Or an artifact, yeah. So, moving on. This is the shot that I was talking about. Awful broadsword looking. A lot of big, heavy swings going on with these sabers.
Yeah. Definitely heavy swings. I like it though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It looks good. There's no doubt about it. Just didn't have the same kind of high speed, low drag kind of feel that the other battle had that I was talking about, but
Right.
So
not to like blast forward, but not really blasting forward, but the next shot.
Yeah.
So we were talking about we're boaters.
Yeah, I know.
I'm looking at that thing right there, and in that situation, just like screw that.
Exactly.
I don't care what's going on.
Right.
I'm turning around.
Uh-huh. No matter how bad I wanted to get to wherever they're going, we'll go later. Let the waters calm down a bit.
Like, are you kidding me? There's a hurricane out there.
Exactly. So, yeah. That was a little rough. I don't know. Yeah, you'd never catch me out on those waters, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right, so this next scene. This hit me in the feels, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah, the 3PO scene.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this hit me right in the feels.
Okay.
I think that's the intent here.
Oh, it's definitely the intent.
But it's like, no, 3PO's going to die.
Yeah.
So 3PO saying, taking one last look at my friends.
Right.
Yeah, that got me right.
Except here's my only issue. Okay. And we don't have this film to go by yet. Okay. But All of his friends are dead. Sorry. Luke's gone. Han's gone. Don't know where Leia's at, but yeah. And we don't know how close, this group may have gotten to 3PO in the meantime. But in the prior two films, not been a whole lot of interaction there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he is looking at R2, and he is looking at Chewie.
Okay, so here's the thing about that, though. Those scenes are cut. Like, cut in there. I don't know if that's necessarily the exact same spot.
All right, let me look at this.
Because, like, when you have Zori and Poe and Rey and Finn standing there, I don't see Chewie anywhere around. Or R2. And then it cuts. It's cutting back and forth. Then there's a scene with R2.
It looks kind of like the same background, though.
Possibly.
And Chewie is like way off. He's right behind Poe right there.
Right. And actually, I don't know.
And Poe's wearing a different jacket.
See what I'm saying?
You're onto something here.
Yeah. Because if there was anybody around that I would think that 3PO would be saying, one last look at my friends, I mean, it's Chewie. He's known Chewie the longest of any of them.
And R2.
And R2, sure. But, just throwing that out there. It's not a big gripe. It's a small little thing, but just throwing it out there. And that scene's definitely cut back and forth.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. Still hit me in the feels.
Oh, sure. And it did its job then. That's a good thing.
They're definitely playing with my emotions there.
Right. So.
And then I like this next shot of them running down the halls of what looks like the halls of a Star Destroyer.
Right.
Just wrecking First
yeah.
Order. Like making short work of First Order troopers.
Yes. Making short work of it. From the look of the mirror polish on the floor, I was thinking, wow, this might be, obviously a Star Destroyer or a Death Star or something, So I had to look really close at these stormtroopers, and they are definitely First Order. So there is that. I didn't know. Hey, maybe there was some leftover Empire stormtroopers. That would have kind of been cool, but these are all First Order.
Well, that, and there is a new poster for the Rise of Skywalker.
Uh-huh.
And as you're looking at what you assume is Kylo Ren's blade,
yeah,
because it goes all the way across the shot, there's people mentioning that, yes, and it also looks like it could be a blast from a super weapon.
Oh, nice. Interesting. Wonder if we're going to have super weapons again.
I mean, it's fitting.
Yeah, it's Star Wars, right?
Yep. So it's what we do. You blow up a Death Star just to find out they got another Death Star.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean that's definitely Kylo's blade. But it's the way it's positioned and everything that are making people comment.
Gotcha.
I do like this poster more than just the poster with the Emperor in the background and Kylo and Rey fighting on that piece of debris.
Uh-huh.
Like I like this poster a lot more.
Cool.
It feels more Star Wars poster to me than the other one.
Well, that's
like if you compare it to all the previous posters.
Right.
It definitely has more of that Star Wars movie poster feel. We're not here to talk about the poster.
Right.
We get this shot again of Leia hugging Rey.
Right.
With Luke talking in the background. And I gotta say, this with the way the music's playing and Luke talking, this hit me as well.
Yeah.
And what Luke says hits me as well.
Yeah.
And he says, confronting fear is the destiny of the Jedi. Your destiny.
Right. So
where's that Luke Skywalker been?
That's my thing. That is the most profound thing that Luke Skywalker has had to say this whole trilogy, which I'm awesome. I'm glad it's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. But you had a whole nother take on this. So, the visual we have here, right, is Rey.
Yep.
But
okay. So this got me thinking. What if that line in the movie is not directed at Rey at all? Yeah. We've talked ad nauseum, I think, about Kylo Ren's redemption.
Right.
And how I have been 100% against it.
Right.
More so after The Last Jedi. Because he bounced back and forth again in The Last Jedi.
Exactly.
And I didn't want to see a third movie of him bouncing back and forth.
Right.
I wanted him to have resolve, to be committed to his cause. Well, maybe the commitment to his cause isn't the commitment to the dark side. And maybe it is his uncle via a Force ghost after some events that really kickstarts his redemption. And maybe it's Luke confirming to him that, look, confront your fear.
Right.
Because confronting fear is the destiny of the Jedi.
Yeah. Your
destiny. It really makes more sense him saying something like that to Kylo, to me,
yep,
than to Rey at this point.
So I agree.
Rey hasn't been super fearful.
True. And I have to say, a statement like this coming from Luke, much more profound than, waking up with him holding a lightsaber over your head.
Yes.
That's probably going to be
this right here helpful. Is probably the approach he should have took.
Yeah, exactly.
To avoid all of this.
Yeah.
But wait, my bad. He couldn't have avoided all this because the Force decides. You don't
stop
decide.
it. Hey, that was last week. We got this trailer here we're looking at.
Okay. I couldn't resist, man.
Oh, I got you.
I mean, in all seriousness, in that regard, like just real quick, that line, okay, if the Force decides they don't have any decision, training doesn't matter, things like that. How is confronting fear? What matters with that? If the Force decides, you don't have to confront anything.
Right.
You don't have to do anything. It just happens.
Right.
While it may be your destiny and what you were meant to do, you still have to do it.
Absolutely.
You have to make that decision to do it. If you ignore your destiny, then that is a possibility. You can ignore your destiny.
Yeah.
So while things are, set in a certain direction and set in motion a certain way, you can do things that alter that.
Absolutely. I mean, if you couldn't alter your actions, we wouldn't have these films. That's a bottom line there.
That would be a point. Yeah. Here's the story. Here's the only way it can end. Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Done. So, yeah. So in this next shot, I don't know what they blew up here. Like if this is some sort of signal.
This appears to me like, if you recall from the last trailer, they walk up upon this, like, looks like a giant party going on. This looks like some of the, I'll say, quote unquote, fireworks type things that were going off for the party. Like it's
okay.
It almost looks like I don't know, fireworks made out of colored dust or something, right? So
Yeah, dust fireworks.
yeah. So, we see how that happens, from the previous trailers and stuff. We see BB-8 has this ingenious idea, and he sets off the fireworks. So,
Right.
Kind of cool.
So, Lando beside Chewie in the cockpit of the Falcon.
Heck yeah, man.
How cool is that?
That takes you right back to Empire.
Lando looks really happy to be back at the helm of his ship.
Yeah.
So, yeah, digging that.
Absolutely.
Digging that. And then they follow up with a shot that I really dig. Man, this Y-Wing. How cool is this shot?
It's a very cool shot.
I mean, I hope we
Corkscrewing
get
his way.
lots of that.
Corkscrewing his way up to the belly of a Death Star. I just hope that in this sequence, this Y-Wing is going to pull an episode 1 Anakin Skywalker and fly it right on board and just, start wiping out whoever's on there, right? I mean, or maybe this is their way of trying to infiltrate the ship.
I mean, I'm just early prediction.
Uh-huh.
Who do you think's flying that?
My guess is maybe a Poe.
Poe?
Maybe.
Think Wedge could fly an X-Wing or a Y-Wing?
I'm sure he could fly a Y-Wing. I mean, both these
It definitely looks like a Poe maneuver.
Both of these guys, though, are they're known for flying X-Wings, right? So
yeah, but I'm just saying, I think both of these guys could fly the crap out of a Y-Wing.
Oh, sure.
That doesn't look like that's going to be just something that happens with a no-name pilot in it.
Right.
That looks like something that someone important is doing.
Yeah, especially when you're flying like Clone Wars era machinery here. This is yeah, this is the rebellion throwing everything they got at these Star Destroyers.
Yep. So we got a little standoff between Kylo and Rey in the Death Star wreckage. No doubt about what that is. Oh, I skipped something.
Yeah, just a little bit here with the and I forget the name of those things. The space horses.
Yep, we'll just call them space horses.
Okay.
This has seen some pushback.
Oh, the space horses scene.
Yeah. I think it's unnecessary pushback. I think you have a rebellion, resistance, whatever they're called at this point. I think they are the new rebellion at this point.
Right.
Something like along those lines. Because I thought they did some release about the rebellion. Like they're the rebellion again and this is their logo.
Okay.
Like I thought there was something like that a while back. Don't quote me, but
right.
I have no problem with this because they're going to use whatever they have.
Yeah, I think it's quite obvious with the hodgepodge of ships we see standing up to what I would have to assume is these Star Destroyers. In one of the previous trailers, we got a very well-organized looking fleet of Star Destroyers, and I'm going to say opposing the shot that we got from this trailer, which is like everything that can fly.
Yep.
Up there to oppose them.
This is the resistance, rebellion, like I said, whatever we're calling them right now. They are going for broke.
Yes.
Everything is on the line here.
Yep.
Much like it was in Return of the Jedi, this is go for broke. There is no other option.
Right.
It has to end here, one way or the other.
Yep.
So
for sure.
if it means riding horses into battle against, what they could have walkers on the other side, but you got horses, so you use the damn horses.
Right.
And it looks cool. I think it looks cool. Cool looking shot. And I like Finn up there in the front.
Yeah.
Riding in on a horse in what is probably would be considered a suicide mission. But there's the hero we want to see out of Finn. leading the charge.
Right.
So I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, totally.
And this is going to be, it's going to be a multi-front attack. Got to hit them from every which way.
Yeah, very well. Could be similar to what you mentioned Return of the Jedi, right? You have to go down to the surface of the moon to disable the shield so we can attack in space and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure we'll find something. There's something like that to where it's got to be a multi-prong attack.
Yeah, and I mean this is going to be the typical, big bad versus the little guy. The big bad saying, "What are they going to do? Ride in on horses?" And then they ride in on horses and kick your ass.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah, yeah. We have found one small flaw.
Yeah,
it's a 2-meter wide exhaust port hole that.
What?
Yeah.
Did you put a piece of plywood over it or something?
Right.
That would look terrible.
Yeah. So, now, the throne room.
The throne room. Not a whole lot to say here, other than cool promo shot.
Oh, for sure. It's the thing that gets me right is I've seen Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
When Death Star blows up, there's a giant ball of fire, and I just don't understand how much of this thing. I don't understand how much of this thing can remain intact like this. It's kind of crazy.
I mean, just because there's fire doesn't mean that everything's blown to dust.
No, I get that, but it's like large chunks of it appear to be intact.
Yeah.
So
it was stronger than we thought.
Right.
Okay, next scene. Finn's nuts running across this thing.
Yeah. Looks like he's screaming Rey.
Like, no one cares about these waves, man. That just...
I know.
I mean, I'm sorry. This is how people go missing on the lake.
This is true. This is true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is the big shot.
Right.
And mainly because of the speculation this is causing. So, Rey and Kylo are breaking up what we're assuming are a collection of Darth Vader relics.
Right. A collection, or at least like an altar the mask was sitting on. Something like that. I will say this. I don't think that they are doing this together. I think this is a result of
their fight.
A fight, yes.
Oh.
Hey, check out Kylo. He's like way more menacing with that mask. Ah.
Yep. Yeah, actually, like him looking at it right there, like if you go frame by frame, he doesn't look happy that just happened.
Right.
But what we're going to talk about here is Rey appears to be holding something in her left hand.
Yes.
This looks like a dagger of some sort.
Absolutely.
A lot of speculation about this being the dagger from Mortis.
Yeah. I would love to think that that's what it is. I would love to see, something else, enter the primary saga here from the Clone Wars.
Oh, for sure. I love the idea of more and more Clone Wars coming into this.
So, the reason behind this dagger, I think we've heard. I hate to spoil anything, but so close your ears for 1 second. Sith dagger is what I've heard.
Yeah.
So I think if this has got any real true purpose, right? So I guess that would go against it being a Mortis dagger, but this would probably have to be the weapon to kill an Emperor who could survive a Death Star blowing up, right?
Yes.
I think that's the conclusion most, at least the one I'm coming to, and sounds like you're agreeing. I think
I agree.
I think it's got to be something like that. So
Yeah, it's got to be something of some significance.
right. So what do you think about the thought of, okay, so we had real quick on the Mortis thing, the father, son, and the daughter, none of them are with us anymore in the Star Wars galaxy. Did that leave some sort of a void for Palpatine to somehow access and then occupy the father's space? And does that have something to do with the throne that we see? Is it, is all of that been perverted somehow?
Well, I mean, could that be the reason for the line that the two of you coming together,
right,
is your undoing? Maybe his plan is to take the role of the father there.
That's what I'm thinking.
And with that comes his inability for him to control them as, a replacement for the daughter and the son.
Yes. I think that's his ultimate plan, but I will say I think that line has been edited. The two of you coming together and is your undoing. I think that's from two different statements from Palpatine.
It could be, but it could also be edited in a way to kind of at least stoke the fires of that.
Oh, sure.
Kind of speculation.
Sure.
Because that would give Palpatine the ability to essentially control the Force itself.
Yes, exactly.
Not to control. Maybe he's not content. Maybe he was never content with controlling the galaxy. His ultimate goal was to control the Force itself.
Right.
And to be able to tip the balance one way or another from a seat of power like that of the fathers.
Right.
Some knowledge he probably would have been able to gather from Anakin.
Ah, yeah.
Anakin having been there, seen how it was, how the hierarchy there was made up.
Also having his memory wiped, though. But maybe Palpatine could still access that through Anakin,
Somehow.
even if Anakin couldn't do it himself. Interesting. Yeah. I like this. This is all good.
Yeah, I think whether it has anything to do with Mortis or not, one way or the other, but I think we're going to find out that Palpatine's ultimate goal here was not to control the galaxy.
Right.
It was to control the Force, which would then give him control of everything.
Period. Yeah. I like it.
To give him control of life itself.
Right. All life.
Yes.
Yeah, he was like the biggest villain ever. And what we've just discussed here, that like ramps it up tenfold.
It turns it up to 11.
Yeah,
dude.
exactly. I like it.
So, like I said, we keep saying Mortis because we as fans of the Clone Wars would love to see more repercussions from that.
Right.
Because it was so deep and so good.
Oh yeah.
And it really makes sense for someone like Palpatine. Like you could imagine him like having his sights on actually controlling the Force.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll go ahead and go to the closing scenes here.
Okay.
Which is Rey obviously standing before, well, we say obviously, but we don't know. But it looks like she's standing before Palpatine.
I would say it's got to be. I mean, I don't think there's too much doubt in anybody's mind that that's what we're looking at here.
Right. And I'm looking at this shot. You see the floors, right?
Yep.
Big open space. I almost feel like this is some sort of like a temple.
Could be.
It's maybe like a makeshift temple.
Right.
There's definitely definitely seems to be some interesting markings behind her.
Right.
Doesn't seem natural.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It looks
And-
like oh, go ahead.
and the Emperor definitely seems to be in some sort of
Contraption.
contraption. Yeah,
Yeah.
not just a chair.
Right.
You
This
see
is-
these lights on the back of it.
I think this is some sort of mobility device / life support system, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it definitely appears as though this thing is moving towards Rey.
Yes.
So,
And it's something we know of the Sith, you know. The Sith power never diminishes, but their ability to keep their mortal self alive
right.
sometimes requires technology.
Yes.
So this would not be, you know, unusual.
No, not at all.
But I think that is as close as we're gonna get trailer wise, obviously, because this is the last trailer. That's as close as we're gonna get until the release of the movie to confirmation that Palpatine is alive in the flesh.
Right. Well, I'd call it pretty good.
It's a pretty good assumption to make at this point that Palpatine is alive, flesh and blood.
Right.
I don't see why they would need something like that for a vessel or clone.
Right.
No, this is his original self, alive, maybe not all that well, but alive.
And for me,
and still powerful as hell.
I still need to, there needs to be some sort of explanation, okay? That, Vader throwing him down that reactor shaft or whatever. It's got to be a good reason why that didn't work. You know what I mean? I
mean, Palpatine's like the most arrogant of bad guys, so I have a feeling he'll just tell you.
Oh, it's possible. Yeah. And that action by Vader, Anakin, okay, I understand is more about saving Luke than it is about destroying the Emperor. But we were all led to believe that both things happened, right? So, yeah, I just want a good explanation why the one didn't.
Yeah, and I think all the talk about Plagueis and life extension, things like that, that's all led us to this point.
Oh yeah.
Those secrets, while discovered and used by Plagueis, perfected by Palpatine.
Yeah, and I'd like a little background into that. Thank you as well. Just a little, right? I mean,
yeah, it doesn't. We just need something.
Yes.
To say, a little in the weeds. This is how I did it.
Right.
And like I said, he's just arrogant enough to tell us.
That's true. That's a true statement. Everything is proceeding how I have foreseen.
Because he's not gonna confront Rey here in a manner of, okay, now you die. He's gonna try and use her.
Right.
I don't think that part of Palpatine's ever going away.
No. And if it's got anything to do with what we were talking about, he needs her.
He needs her. Especially given the power level of these two.
Right.
He may see it as this kind of, force reincarnation thing.
Okay.
Father, sister, daughter.
Right.
Or father, daughter,
son. Yeah.
He might see it as like a force reincarnation of these beings to kind of reset the balance.
Yeah.
Like maybe he knows that the Force needs these beings.
That's a possibility. Just makes me wonder why the Force would allow it to go for so long without them then. Because you're talking Clone Wars era till sequel era. It's quite a quite a long time.
I mean, maybe there were attempts at it.
Maybe.
Maybe the Inquisition was able to quell those attempts.
Right.
Until now. I don't know.
Hey. Maybe we'll find out that's the real reason behind the Inquisition of hunting down all the Jedi.
Was Palpatine trying to stack the deck in his favor?
Yes. I'm just going to throw it out there. Yes, of course he was. He's trying to make it so that whoever this light side user in this scenario was going to be is somebody that he felt like he can control.
Not only that, but if Anakin was suited to take the father's place,
right,
to control them, maybe Palpatine needed 2 Skywalkers to do this. Maybe him trying to turn Luke and stuff was his first attempt at that.
Oh, that's possible.
By turning Luke, he could then get to Leia.
Oh, I like
and
that.
by using Luke and Leia, he could do this. That didn't work.
Oh, man.
So now
I'm liking this.
He's using this next generation of Skywalkers
I'm liking this
to
a lot.
try and do it again.
Yes. Wow. I'm liking that a lot. All right. I think we're going to have to let this thought simmer on our brain for a little bit. We might have to revisit this again.
I think so.
Yeah.
So if you have anything to add to that that's going to help us out, email us. show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media. We're at The Wars and More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. And you can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
Not for this week, but boy, I got some for later.
So, tons, but it's going to have to wait.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk next week.